Hello, this is Cardiff News Plus. I'm Akash Dhanurkar.
And I'm Lulin Jin. Hundreds of campaigners have staged a demonstration in Cardiff against racism. Many of them say that they are distinguished as planned legislation to tackle immigration. The UK government claims their legislation will end illegal entry to the UK to claim asylum. Akash Dhanurkar reports.
The UK government's illegal immigration bill came under fire at the protests outside City Hall in Cardiff. Among the groups were representatives from trade unions Speak Out, Black Lives Matter and Stand Up to Racism Wales, and others who came along to support the demonstration.
Here, I'm not a member of any organisation, I'm just an ordinary retired married man who is disgusted with his government's attitude and actions towards refugees.
The Westminster government bill proposes to prevent any immigrants arriving by small boats from ever claiming asylum in the UK.
Well, I'm part of Star University, like the society which is basically student help for refugees, and with the new immigration laws that I think we've all seen online and pretty much how disgustingly our parliament has been talking about refugees, I think it's driven us all to come here today and to stand up for their rights to just be treated as human beings.
John Actie was one of the wrongly accused of murdering Lynette White in Cardiff more than 30 years ago.
It's very important, just to clear our name, from the conspiracy the police put upon the community and basically said, all these black people from this community killed the girl, when they was looking for the white guy. You know what I mean? It's terrible. It was a terrible, terrible miscarriage of justice, and it was a terrible thing what they've done to our community.
The UK government says the bill is needed to halt the highly dangerous crossings by small boats. MPs will vote on the merits of the legislation, but these people have already made their minds up. People living near a historic building in Cardiff Bay say they fear for its future. With part of it currently being demolished, the coal exchange, which is now used as a hotel, dates back more than 130 years but has structural problems. Tianzi Wang reports.
Now a hotel, its owners issued a notice on last month saying it would be closed for a fortnight. But it's now in third week and bookings for April have been cancelled. Cardiff Council say damage to the building means part of it needs to be demolished. People living nearby are worried.
I have genuine concerns about the coal exchange. The previous owners didn't really carry out their promises to look after the building and to sort of fully refurbish it. And obviously I have some concerns now because it looked like it was being looked after, but the refurbishment seems to have paused.
Definitely, and they should be protected as well. So it's not really the way they're also managed, but it's also the way they are protected over the years. So I think there should be a better way to manage those historical buildings, just because of their value, really.
From the outside, it appears to be in state of partial disrepair overall, but on closer inspection, the interior has been hollowed out.
The coal exchange will be closed off with the risk of stones falling at any time, and it's a difficulty to see some residents walk in front of the coal exchange.
Opposition councillors are among those calling for action.
Things like the coal exchange, of course, that is now privately owned. So it's up to the private owners to carry out that maintenance, but there needs to be some support from the various sort of heritage societies and organisations, and perhaps Cardiff Council as well, to give them some guidance on how best to do that.
The Cardiff Civic Society said the coal exchange should be cherished, but that no one seems to be taking responsibility for such an important part of the city's history.
Business owners in Cardiff say energy subsidies provided by the government has not helped much, and they have to pay more than twice what they did before. Many shops feel confused about how to keep their businesses running, and they want more help from the government. Xinyu Zhang reports.
The Aston Fish shop in Cardiff Market have to pay very high bills this year. Employees here say they are worried about the fish shop's future. Although the government have helped them with some bills, they want more support.
Energy crisis makes a lot of Cardiff shop hard to survive. Now I'm standing in front of the Ashton Fish shop. As you can see, they have a lot of big machines. and they need to use a lot of widgets to make their seafood very fresh every day. That means they need to pay for a lot of high bills per month. Although the government support their a lot, they need more help to survive.
There is government help, I would say. Just to give you an example, last year our energy bills was 1800. This year, without the government assistance, we'd be looking at about 3500. But because of the government assistance, we're looking at about paying out of us about £2,000 approximately.
Thai restaurant on Churchill Way faces the same problem. With a big kitchen, their energy bills are high, and they must pay twice as much as they used to. The restaurant's owner says government support has not solved their problems.
Currently at the moment the business isn't doing great, obviously with the rise in bills and everything. It's hard to keep on top of everything. We're a small business, like we opened right before COVID, so it is difficult. It's a passion project for sure, so it's hard to see the way it's going with the rise in bills. But at the moment, the most we can do is work on promoting our business, trying to get more customers in, to get our revenue up to support.
The government has announced it will introduce a new discount scheme on energy bills next month, but the future of many businesses is still uncertain.
Part of cycle lanes in Cardiff are designed to run between the road and bus stops. That is stopping the bus passengers from stepping out directly onto the pavement. Some people say cyclists riding through without stopping for pedestrians at a high speed will put them at risk. Swaine Lee reports.
Dumfries Place bus stop is one of the bus stops with the largest traffic in Cardiff city centre, including lines 44, 45, 49 and 50.
As you can see behind me, there's a bus stop beside a cycle lane. Now the idea of floating bus stops is that it separates the cyclists from the vehicles on the road, but it stops the bus passengers from stepping out directly into a cycle lane. If cyclists riding through without stopping for precedent, this will put residents at risk, especially for blind people, elderly people and disabled people because they have limited mobility.
Because of this design, when people get on or off a bus, they may be hurt by cyclists.
You have to wait for people want to come down from the bus, so you can't just enter the bus. So before you have to wait for people coming from the bus. So just a minute or 2 seconds after getting down, you are the next to enter the bus.
For those with limited mobility, getting on and off the bus is already a difficult task, and the speed of bicycles makes their trip even more dangerous.
I find it difficult because the cyclists came to me without to look. Yeah, it's very, very difficult, and I think it's danger as well. Yeah. Yes. I hope they will do small way for a wheelchair. It will be fine.
But cyclists say they're also constantly concerned about accidents and that the design of bus stops should improve.
It's dangerous as a cyclist and also people walking on the cycling lane. So we should put, I think, a sign to tell the cyclists that they have to be careful when cycling on the lane and people walking on the lane. And the people walking on the lane have to be also be aware that there is cyclists going past. So yeah, it's both ways.
So far, there's no specific solution to this problem. People hope the council in Cardiff can make adjustments to these bus stops.
A family in Cardiff are using their front garden to set up a free shop in order to help those who are finding it difficult to make ends meet. Open twice a week, the shop hands out essential items like clothes and babies' nappies and has had plenty of donations from the local area. Prasanna Joshi reports.
It is a regular sight in Landrumney area of Cardiff. The cost of living crisis can make it difficult for some families to make ends meet. A family in Cardiff is using their garden to run a free shop every Saturday and Monday to help people who are struggling with the cost of living crisis.
I just got to come home from work the one day and I was over at the shop and I seen a homeless lady and she couldn't have been no much older than me, about 20, 21 maybe. So I kind of see now in a bit of a situation, like shoes, no socks, and different bit, like looking quite in a situation better. So I just sort of kind of thought to myself, how can I help the community on a wider basis? And then so I brought it home to Mum and my ideas, and then this is kind of where we got, really.
The local community is supporting this idea by contributing clothes and other items that may be essential for others. Some say that contributing to this is equivalent to giving back to the society.
It's nice that we can just give back, and yeah, even when my son was growing up, like all our friends, we all shared because there's a group of us that all had kids at the exact same time, so it was really nice. If one of them was growing a lot quicker, they would all hand the clothes down, so it's just that sense of community, and it's lovely there.
Jenny is a 41-year-old mother, and her daughters Claudia and Naomi launched Bag It for Free in January, and it's been making a positive impact ever since.
I was working full time and I had a good job, but for the last little while I've got incurable cancer. It's incurable, not terminal, but I can't work anymore. So this makes a big difference to me because we're living on not a lot of money. So getting clothes and things that we need from here is so brilliant. And being a part of the community and them wanting to help somebody like me.
It is hoped the ideas like this will help bring communities together to help each other during difficult times.
A new campaign is underway to encourage more people to use some of Cardiff's oldest pub in order to keep them thriving. The Cloudy Pub in Roath is part of the initiative. Our reporter Minji Kao went along to find out more.
The Cloud was built in 1890 and refitted in the 1930s. Over the years, it's proved popular among locals. Cardiff Civic Society and the Real Air Group Camera are calling for the pub to be listed as a recognition of its working-class heritage, an idea that's got customer support.
I think pubs are very important, especially in the UK and Wales, to Wales specifically, because it comes with the culture. People gather in the pub, they talk about the day, they talk about the weeks, they always catch up, and that's something people look forward to. They gather in the pubs and then they boost their mental health, and then they get the positivity from each other, and then they carry on during the week, and then they go to work. So pubs are very important.
The pub's managers say they are facing an extra challenge in recruiting enough staff to work, facing especially on Fridays and Saturdays. Many in the hospitality industry say they have experienced similar problems. But the campaign groups have joined forces to lobby the Historical Buildings Group could do to get building like the Cloud listed as important part of Wales heritage.
Now I'm outside the Cloud Pub. Pub culture is kind of social culture in UK. The Secretary of Cardiff Camel, Brown Fonse, says pubs do have a community value. They are a meeting place for locals. They are British institution, really. So if we lose pubs, we will lose opportunities to communicate with others. Min Jiecao, Cardiff News Plus at the Lord Pub.
And the weather. Tonight we'll see further spells of rain move in from the west, and it will be windy as well. The rain will fade in the early hour, with mostly cloudy skies and a few clearer breaks. Tomorrow we'll see ending overnight very clear to the east to leave a mix of sunny spells and cloud, turning cloudy and wet towards the end of the day.
That's all from us. Join us for our next program on Thursday.
From all of us on the Cardiff News